All right, everyone. Hello and welcome to the Distortion Survivor Thrilltopia Cast Assessment. Now, the way that this works, I should have filled in our new prod members. Is we kind of just like sit and listen. We put our thoughts in, but this is mostly for the after show. We have Cam and Mike here. Morgan and Karen will show up when they show up. Um, so yeah, with that being said, we're going to go alphabetically. And the first, and just to ask Mike and Cam, you did watch the Meet Me videos, correct? I know Cam said he watched most of them. So, yes, Jen. Okay. Okay. What was I saying? I forgot lost my train of thought. Anyways, we're kind of just all vibing here now. So, if y'all want to put your thoughts in, you can put your thoughts in. In the meantime, our first player is Al. They use they them pronouns and they live in Maryland, USA. And whoever has thoughts can go first. I'm gonna go off camera and work on some stuff.
All right, I'll start. I is Al newer to orgs or no?
Al
No.
Al has played Facebook games, but I do believe they
Uh,
are new to Skype
Yeah. So
Wars.
this is their if I'm correct, this is their fourth game. They played two Facebooks and they most recently played Power Grab.
oh yes, that Al. Okay. So by the sounds of it, Al sounds at least experienced, which is really good with this cast, which seems to have a lot of very experienced and like strong players. I get the vibes that I feel like Al could do well. I feel like they just give off the energy that they will like be pretty good socially. But I've never interacted with them before, but I'm wishing for the best for them.
It seems like they have a lot of energy, a lot of spunk, which I love, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing, where they could be super energetic about the game and socially be in the loop with everything, or it could get on people's nerves and we see them go either way early, but I like the vibe I get from Al. I like the intro, I like the action shot with drinking. That's always fun. So I don't know this person, but I have high hopes for Al.
Any thoughts from Prod?
I think having interviewed Al, it's definitely going to be an interesting game. When asked about their game style in previous games, Al literally said all three. So I think I have no idea what to expect from Al. I think socially their humor is there that we've seen in previous seasons. I'm just curious to see if the other cast mates are going to feel the same about that or if it'll be I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Um, I just getting to watch Al's Meet Me video. I feel like they have a lot of personality, a lot of spunk and energy. I think socially they'll get along well. Um, I feel like they're gonna give us a sense of unpredictability, not within their game moves. I know we said they're newer to orgs, like they've been around the block, but not enough around the block compared to like years. So I'm excited to see what their play style is like and see how they manage to adapt to the situations we have to throw.
Anything else?
Wait, who are we? Who are we on?
We're
As you
talking
said,
about Al.
Al. So Al is somebody I just got like I remember the preconceived notions, like, oh, I think Al's gonna get this. I think Al's gonna do well. I still kind of feel that way, but like after seeing some of talk that's happened between some of the people on their tribe. I don't feel as confident anymore. I either see Al like getting pre-merged or I see Al going early merge. And I will be making a bootless prediction later.
All right, anyone else? Okay. Next up, we have B. They are from New York, USA, and they use she, her. So if you have any thoughts, you can take it away.
I am so excited that B is here. I played one mini with B however long ago it was for Roberto's birthday org, and she just brought a lot of fire, a lot of drama. Like within the first round of this Big Brother mini, was getting into arguments with people, was clocking people right off the bat. So I see her as someone that's just going to bring a lot to the table this season, whether it's just being good socially, strategically, drama. I think B is just going to bring everything from an entertainment perspective. And when I saw B was on this cast, I was so excited. So that's my opinion of B. I expect her to go pretty far into this game, maybe mid to late merge. Could be a final boss for someone to take out at the end, but I'm expecting big things from B in this game.
Yeah, I have never personally interacted with B, but judging by what Mike just said, I am very interested because like sounds like B's a pretty entertaining like personality to have, and I love entertaining players. And yeah, I'm wishing her the best. And I do think like just based off of like that, like hopefully she is like a late game player, and hopefully she can bring the entertainment to the season.
Anyone
Oh, I
else?
definitely think she will. She is a Spitfire. Just from her intro video, I know that she is going to, that with the ups and downs that we have this season, I know she's just gonna go ahead and rock with them. Um, I've never seen B play on personally. I have not seen them play. Um, but I'm intrigued to see how she does. I'm sure that energy is, she's super charismatic. I'm sure she'll start to gain great social capital as the game progresses. Um, I'm definitely rooting for her.
Anyone else?
Wait, I gotta go.
Oh, okay.
Hold up. I'm getting
Grace will be back. We have a
Okay,
friend joining us as well.
we're still on B.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're on B.
A friend joined.
Again.
Hey, Morgan.
Hi.
So B, I get boss ass energy vibe from her. And from based on what I'm hearing, Mike shaking his head, I feel she's gonna give it this season. And I really hope that she can stick with that. Cause there's been people in the past where I feel like, yeah, they got this. And then they just kind of like, man, they falter out. And I hope that I feel she's been having some pretty good conversations so far, and I hope she can keep that up. And hopefully she will do well. I do see her getting like to mid merge to like late merge.
All I'm gonna say is I said it in the text chat already.
because I'm not going to stay here forever just because I don't have like a bunch of opinions that I really want to give out just because I don't know a lot of these people. But honestly, I don't know this person, but at the same time, I've enjoyed a lot of the stuff they brought to the table, and that's why I'm going to pick them to win this game. Why? Because I don't think it's going to be someone who has played a bunch of games. I feel like with this type of cast, it's going to be very up in the air. A lot of new existing relationships are going to happen, and I feel like B is going to be one of those people who is like one of the silent but deadly types, who is going to be a part of those major alliances, but is not the face of those giant alliances. And they're just going to realize how much they did behind the scenes when they're sitting in FTC. And that's the I don't know. That's just the way I see it.
And from the limited experience I had playing with her, I mean, like it was just a mini, but one thing I definitely did love with her, she had no problem just openly, publicly calling people out on their shit. Like if someone was just trying to lie, snake, do whatever, she had no problem. Even if it cost her game or not, she had no problem just calling out what needed to be called out. And as a viewer, yeah, I'm hoping that happens at some point this game. But
I hope she better create tribal drama.
And she would be real as fuck for that. I'm telling you right now. Like, it is not a season of distortion without a little bit of drama, an early tribal. Like,
First, second tribal, whichever one.
All right. Anyone else?
Oh yeah, Morgan, we went over Al already.
Yes,
and
Morgan.
It was Steve. You wanted to give your opinions on him.
I don't have any words for them because I wasn't really prepared. So I'm just
right. Well, someone Morgan might be prepared to talk about. Next up is Chris Ocker. Use he, him pronouns, and is from New Jersey, USA. So I'm going to let Morgan go first since I know Morgan has things to talk about.
I do. This is one of the people I'm really excited for. Chris and I played Hypnotic together, and I know that Chris is very strategic and thinks a lot of things out and is constantly talking things out. I'm really excited to see that from the behind the scenes perspective this time around. He's pretty good socially, but also good physically, like is really good at challenges. So I'm really excited to see Chris play. I really wanted him to play Distortion, and I'm glad that he took the bait. So I have high hopes. Like this is my winner pick. My winner pick is Chris.
You know what? I'm gonna piggyback off of you. I said when I drafted him, I got a vibe earlier. He's giving me winner as well, honestly, because like he seems like because based on what you guys have talked about before, he was a good player and he was a huge player in the last Hypnotic season, and I feel he can definitely bring that to this cast. And I can already say this now. People on his tribe seem to really be enjoying him right now. And I definitely sense that and we kind of touched on it some, based on the people who are clicking, I could see like a trio forming of like him, JJ, and oh my god, I'm blanking so much. Oh my god. Him, JJ, and fucking God, why am I blanking?
Corey?
Corey, thank you. Thank you. Those three. Because they seem to be talking a lot like to each other. So I feel like that can like become a thing. And Chris is like this strategic man that he is. He can do well. And I think I can get him a long way. And we're gonna see if we're right with this winner pick here. But I'm feeling it for them.
Benji, did you want to go?
Yes, I do. Chris Ocker is also one of my who I wanted to see play. I also played with Morgan and Chris in Hypnotic. Chris is definitely that calculated player. Um, very level-headed as well, which I think is a very good skill to have in any of these types of orgs. To not really hold on to things for too long, which also gives into his ability on when to make the plays and when it's smart to for the overall strategy. Definitely one of my winner picks, if not someone I think is going to go really, really far. I'm very excited to see how he'll do.
I was just gonna add that this was another person that I interviewed, and as soon as I interviewed him, it was like, I need to see this person play. This is distortion. Like the entire conversation of like everything was calculated, everything was strategic, everything he said, he would say, like, I think this is probably the answer you're probably looking for, but that's not what I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna tell you the straight up truth. And it's that I do not like loyalty is there, but I need to make sure that this is for me because this is Survivor. And one of our questions we ask is like if you would use an idol on one of your closest allies if you knew they were going to get votes. And he was like, "Yeah, I'd probably try to save them, but I mean, I wouldn't even tell them I had an idol. So how are they going to know that I didn't save them?" And I was like, honestly, that's like a real answer. He is socializing beyond everything tonight. And I think like even in his prod chat, he's already talking about people that he feels comfortable with and who he wants to work with and why. And I feel like on night zero, that is not what I expected to see. So I'm really excited to see this person. This might be my winner pick as well, although B is also up there. So I feel like I'm a little stuck.
Yeah, like I noticed when I got added to the prod chats that like Chris's was already popping off like right off the bat with like game talk. I was like, okay, good sign. And judging by what other people have been saying, yeah, Chris is already doing really well. And like that, sometimes those early days in the game, like the day zeros, that's where you really start to get like footing and start working that social game. And when it gets, I'd say like that early social game is one of the most important days to get the social work in. And Chris is already on the roll with that. And since y'all are talking about how he has really good strategy, that's something that's also like keep an eye on him for sure.
So my only concern with him is if he's too strategic and he is maybe like I don't think right now he's going too hard out of the gate, but that could be something that where if he does come to a merge or come to a swap, some situation where it would be good to get rid of somebody who is a big threat, that could be something that comes up later down the road. So am I seeing winner for somebody? No, because I think it's hard for someone to be consistently that good from beginning to end. So maybe he dials it back at some point, but I'm giving like maybe Mayor of Ponderosa vibes
Yeah.
from him. I think maybe he could be seen as someone to target come merge, but
Yeah,
or
I
he could
do.
make a deep run. Who knows?
I do see him. And no offense to the terminology I use, but I do see him as a Jackie. I do see him as doing someone who's super well in the merge and or in the pre-merge. And then like once going into the merge, they just can't find their footing and they're like one of the first early boots of the merge.
Is there gonna be somebody that's gonna say though, Chris is just gonna steamroll this whole game, babe?
I don't
I
think
got out
so.
because they didn't suck my dick. I don't know.
Girl, I don't know. Jackie's
Guys,
just
we are
running the
streaming
whole
on
show.
YouTube language. I want to make money off this.
To get back,
No,
to get
like I
back
was
on.
just working at Walmart 9 to 6 Pacific time, and I got voted out by Jackie. Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have anything else
Okay,
they'd like to say about
I
Chris
do want
Ocker?
to add something. I do. One thing I will be interested to see now that people have brought up kind of threat level. I'm not sure if Chris has ever played a Survivor game, so I'm also intrigued to see on how he keeps that continuous observation of his threat level, knowing that it's more likely to make a big move in Survivor than it is in Big Brother. When playing Hypnotic, there's like a set of nominees, and then after that, for sure who you're voting for, compared to Survivor, where anything and anybody goes. So to be able to match that awareness that he has strategically with his social gameplay on a different playing field is something that I'm also going to want.
Yeah, I'd like to say, like, playing with him in Hypnotic, it was really obvious how good of a player he was. Like, he was very much somebody that had to go as someone that wasn't really working with him. So I think he does have a problem with threat management. So we'll see how that caters into this season.
Or they could keep him around as a shield, and by the time they do try to get rid of him, it's too late, and he's sitting there as the winner. Who knows?
All right. Well, if that's everything with Chris Ocker, let's move on to Chris Villarreal. He is 30 years old. Him from Denver, Colorado, USA. And if y'all have anything to say, now would be the time.
Benji's twin.
Yeah, we've all been thinking it. It's Benji 2.0. I'm
Thank
not
you.
2.0. Not 2.0 in a better sense, but it's Benji's twin. It's not 2.0. It's your twin. Like, it's literally the same vibe. Like,
It's like Mike and Tyler.
Yo, Benji, like blood versus
Literally.
water. Me and Tyler, you and Chris, we're gonna run it, bro.
Like, to be able, like, literally just that intro video and like the cast reveal, all of it. I watched. I was like, Benji coded. Like,
I even messaged Zeb on Facebook when it was happening. I was like, "Why Chris V look like Benji?"
We were literally talking about it, and then you messaged me that, and I was like, "This is too funny."
No, I was legit thinking the same thing when I was watching.
But do you have anything to say besides the fact he looks like Benji?
Him kind of giving his strategy away in his intro video, knowing everyone's gonna see it. Been there, done that. Not a good idea. Him saying, "I come off super laid back, but I'm actually like really strategic," and so yeah, probably wasn't the best move there.
I think we actually discussed that we think it might have been an error on our part on explaining what the video was for.
Gotcha.
No, it's not. We told it.
We told them what it was.
I think
it was misinterpreted.
I think for a group of newbies, yes, it was misinterpreted. But this is the same like copy paste type message that we've been using since season 6.
Speaking
5,
from
maybe?
experience here of giving your strategy away. In your
Okay, but I
intro video.
also told you it'd be seen, so that was the difference.
That's
No
what I'm
one
saying.
asked
Like,
us.
it was just misinterpreted, and I think they thought it was just gonna be for us, and that the other cast members wouldn't see it. But they did. They all saw that, and I think that for sure is
flip
going
it.
to
If you
bite.
can flip that and make it funny.
I mean, it's not really like a issue. Like I'm looking like based on like reading all these chats, it's not I don't think no one's been in their pro chat being like, oh my god, Chris V gave up all of his information.
No.
Yeah.
Oh wait,
like,
can we actually confirm that really quickly? Because I thought I did remember seeing someone make a comment.
No, that was about William, which we'll get to.
Oh, okay.
oh yeah, we'll him later.
But yeah,
But-
I don't know this person at all, so that's all I gotta say.
All right, so Chris did give off super chill vibes from the Meet Me video that I saw, which could be very easy to connect with for certain people. I don't know what he's like as a player, but like I feel like he might be I could see him being easily like one of the more likable people in the game, or he could get taken out like early mid game. Like I don't know where he would place really, but like I could see him doing pretty well.
Okay, so if you're always saying he's my twin, he has to at least make top 4. Um, with that being said, I do agree that he has a lot of the qualities and the abilities to go far. I do also understand that, openly sharing your strategy in an intro video is also not the greatest thing in the world either. Um, excuse me. So whether he's able to adapt slash bounce back, I think he will. I mean, if he's as charismatic and sociable, I think he'll be able to work through that, and maybe in doing so, we'll also be able to realize, like, hey, my game's technically out in the open now. I'm not as much of a threat, and maybe try to use it to his advantage. Um, we'll see. The night is young, and so is the game.
I think for me, he's either going to go far into this game or he's going to flop. It's one or the other. I don't like kind of see a middle ground here, but right now I'm leaning on he's gonna make it decently far because I feel he is likable enough right now with the people on his tribe. And I think if he keeps that up, I could definitely like, and he is such a like his person. I already like loving his personality too, and he's just so he's so optimistic, and I can tell that it is someone who tries to bring like as much optimism as possible into these games, like that literally drags people to you. And I could see people like going to him and be like, you have such good vibes. Like, I really like you a lot. Like, I want to work with you because like I just love being around you. I definitely see that with him. But on the flip side of that, when people identify that, you are fucked. I don't know. I just see him as like a very like just genuine person, and I think that's gonna really help him.
So I think he's pretty up there. I don't want to like give a winner pick so early, but I do see good things for him. I think like he said, he's very laid back. Um, and I think that he just like I don't know, it's just the vibe he gives me. It's like the people are definitely gonna want to be around him, and work with him. I think he could definitely play that like I'm a little dumb, like, oh, I'm just from Denver. All I do is smoke, like type character that a lot of people do in orgs. And I think it work out. I think it could work out with him. I see a lot of potential in him, especially because he's like still newer to the org community. This is his first like face org, like where he's like on camera and stuff. And so I'm like really excited to kind of see how he does, but I have high hopes for him.
I also see a case with him because this is his first like game, and this is gonna be a couple people on this cast. Um, they could get. I don't want them to get too way ahead of themselves, and they end up just leaving because they have. That's what happens. Like to every a lot of people who start out playing, they have this confidence, and then it just when they realize it.
I mean, there could be some big move buys, or you could see it go the opposite way, especially some of these bigger threats on the
Yeah.
cast where they're
Yeah.
scooping players like this up and just sheeping the end or using them as whatever. I could see that happening with some of these newbies too.
I was gonna say we could see like the core happen where all of a sudden some of the vets, which they did mention in their chats, they were feeling a sort of need to help the newbies. And it could end up being the core where all of a sudden we have some vets try to help out the newbies and a newbie just swoops out right from underneath them and steals that win.
I think as well.
No one wants that to happen. So
I think my worry as well is like just transitioning wise, like it can be very hard to transition from like alias slash like typing just text type games to like full blown people want to call with you, people want you on Zooms, you have to compete in live challenges. Like it's very hard to transition from that. And so I'm kind of interested to like see if he like prepared himself like to be like, okay, well, I'm gonna move from this text-based game to a game where I'm potentially will have to do endurance challenges. Yeah, I have to do, a lot of live challenges, but we're gonna mute it. So
Um, as somebody that had experience dealing with the like, this is so strange having to talk with people and whatnot. My first time that I played an org, I could see that definitely being an issue. It was an issue for me. That's why I didn't make as good connections as I needed to. So I hope he catches on quick. I don't know. I don't get like threat vibes. I get like fodder vibes, if I'm being real.
all right, next up is Coach RC. They are from Florida. They see her. And let me just clarify one thing real quick.
Oh
I'm excited for this one.
I'm so ready. Coach RC is already giving like that energy that I feel like is going to be entertaining as hell to watch.
I mean, this early in the game when people are already using loose lips to describe Coach RC,
Yeah.
like we're 5 minutes. What could you possibly be leaking right now?
Like I know y'all said like you could see B getting into like arguments, but just based off of like the loose lips thing, I could see Coach RC doing that.
Oh, I see if somebody like wrongs RC or something, I see her being like, yo, what the I see it happen. I can see the messiness there. But I also have to also but part of me also thinks it won't happen though, because I know that she's a teacher. And I know they tend to have like a calmer demeanor when they play.
Like to contest
Jen's just
that.
like,
Look at me and Jonathan.
Having played with both of them.
I do want to say we do have a lot of teachers on the cast this round. Do love that.
So many orders are
Continue. Continue, Grace.
JJ used to be one. Shout out to him with that. But
there's so many teachers in the org community, I swear.
I don't know. Like she's
I mean, they're
just
used to dealing with like immature children all day, so playing orgs is a natural transition. So
No, it's not. But I do agree with Grace. I think that Coach can bring that fire.
I think she's going to be I think she's going to be entertaining. Like I think she's definitely going to bring that kind of energy in, but I feel it's going to be too entertaining and too messy to where people are like, I don't want to deal with this BS. Let's just vote her out. I feel that's what's going to happen to her.
I feel like if our most strategic player, most strategic, that obviously like not actually true, but if considered that, had said within the first hour of meeting Coach C that they're loose lipped, I'm honestly just concerned on how far that's going to go because you haven't even made it to night 1. This is still night 0. Like the comp hasn't even happened yet. But I love her energy so much. And I do think it is because she's a teacher. There is just a certain energy that teachers will bring to orgs. And I think it's because they do know how to like be the inner child. So I think this is definitely going to be the most interesting and probably the most dramatic, but I'm going to live for it, honestly.
I mean, there could be a first boot flame out here where it was fun while it lasted. We could see, who knows, but I'm on board with whatever Coach RC brings to the table here.
Yeah, I'm liking what she's cooking up right now. I especially liked her like starting like meet me video too. Because like just the vibe, like
I'm Taylor Swift bracelets.
The Taylor Swift bracelets
Swift
intro video. She just has her little Taylor Swift friendship bracelets and she's putting it on the other wrist. And she has a Taylor shirt on too. Or lyric.
Yeah, like I personally think she's going to be entertaining and I hope she makes it far. However, I just based off of like night zero, which is a very important like day to talk to people. If you're already given that vibe, it might not be a long run, but I'm hoping it can be.
Especially on the tribe, because Coach is on a tribe with B. Correct me if I'm wrong. B, JJ, some pretty big fish there. So it could be just an easy. We lost. Let's just vote off someone that we think is loose lipped from the word go, and we'll see.
All right. Well, if that's everything, we move on. Next up is Corey Ram from Florida, USA. Uses he, him pronouns and is from Florida.
I'm personally excited to see Corey play because, like, when I hosted him in Spellbound, like, he was pretty good socially and then got taken out early. And I also just hosted him Battle of the Orals. He got pretty far there too, made it to finale. And, like, he's overall seems like a very fun guy, nice guy. Although, like, he did mention he's never won a game. That's maybe this could be the time. And like he gives fun vibes, but we'll see how it goes. I'm excited to see him play.
No, definitely seeing like one of the members of the Ram clan play from this side will be fun, especially because having
What
gone
did you just
through
call him?
the
Ram
Ram clan.
Okay, I'm gonna go on mute.
What did you think I said?
No, I heard you. I just want to make sure you said that.
Well, okay, fine. The Ram family, after going through the miserable hell that was Kaleidoscope season
You
4.
couldn't just say Ram fam.
Yes, the Ram fam. Anyway, back to me. Having gone through season 4 of Kaleidoscope, now being on this side watching him play this game, I think I'm seeing maybe, I'm going to call it now, Corey Ram will get 6th place this season. I'm calling it now. Spoiler alert.
I was just gonna say that I think Corey and Chris O we mentioned it with Chris O and J and I think JJ and Corey, Chris O and JJ are all just gonna kind of form a little group. They seem to talk really well with each other and they're all like in it. I will say that I literally watched Corey and Chris O talk about refrigerators for 40 minutes. I feel like that in itself shows they've bonded. And if I see either of them backstab each other this season, I feel like we just need to bring up the fact that night zero, they spoke for 40 minutes about the possibly most boring topic I've ever heard in an org. Because that was insane. On top of that, like the further in you go, they're already talking game talk. And I feel like again, that could bite one of them in the butt. But I feel like if Corey does well socializing, which Corey's already doing, I could see Corey going pretty far this game.
So I'm
I
kind of
think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, babe.
you go.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I see that what I see every time I see Corey play a game is that Corey, he's not the most he's not the most powerful player, but he's somebody who knows what to do to get far enough. I feel that's what's going to happen, and I feel he's going to get into the merge phase at least. But I think that he's just gonna be somebody they vote out along the way and be like, yeah, let's just get rid of Corey. I kind of see that happening because it happened before, but like this is always a different group. I think this is a very different group of people compared to other games. So maybe it'll be a different outcome. Well, but I could see him going decently far though.
Morgan, you're unmuted. Did you want to say something?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk, so I was waiting.
Nope.
Okay, so I've played with Corey before multiple times now. And my thing with Corey is that while Corey can like get himself into a good spot for like longevity, he's never like the one to beat, if that makes sense. Like he's never he's never like the threat to win. I don't know if he just like lacks that like fire to like really push to do things that better him specifically. Um, like he's good enough socially, but like if you're not in with Corey, he doesn't really try with you. Just from my experience, multiple times not being in the loop with Corey, that like there's never that like cross communication attempted by him. He like sticks to what he knows and just goes with it. So I'd be interested to see if maybe this time he plays a little bit more dynamically. I don't for now. I think definitely gonna make the merge. I would expect nothing less, but I'm not getting winner vibes.
So I do find it interesting because like watching him in Battle of the Orgs, like he definitely was a little more villainous than I would have expected from Corey. I mean, like I knew he like screwed a bunch of people over in Kaleidoscope when Morgan and Grace played, but like I seeing it up hand was kind of interesting, and so I'm kind of interested to see if like Corey brings that energy into Distortion, especially with a smaller cast. Does he go right into it, or does he kind of lay back? Will it be too late before he starts? It's kind of interesting. But does anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Cool. I just muted myself. I don't know why. All right. Next up is Eric Allen. Let's see. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Eric, 26. He, him from Oregon, USA. And I know that Cam is just dying to talk about Eric. So, Cam, you could go first.
You're muted, bestie.
Cam, you're muted.
You're still muted.
Oh, I was just yapping, you know. But it's Mike's bestie, of course. You got this. But from my experience of hosting Eric, like he he's an interesting player. Like when I hosted him in Spellbound, uh he was making a lot of trying to make moves that at the time didn't really make sense at the time.
Forever.
Yeah. But like I every game's different. I think he could switch things up here. Like as long as he can like keep his eye on the prize, I think he could do well. Feel like he could make merge, most definitely. I wish him the best. And I just know that other people that aren't named Mike are excited to talk about him.
Yeah, so Morgan, whenever you're ready, you can speak about Eric.
Okay. So first of all, love Eric. As a person, Eric is just amazing. Always good chat. As a player, I feel like every time I see Eric play or play with Eric, Eric's always that person that's like a bit out of the loop, or like doesn't really have all of the pieces of information to be able to do something correctly. I'd be interested to see Eric play from like a power position. I wish the best for Eric, obviously, but just seeing it multiple times over, it feels like Eric just like doesn't have the finger on the pulse, if that makes sense. Like, is just kind of like wants to play and is like really excited to play and goes out of his way to talk to people and stuff, but never seems to like be able to put the pieces together correctly. So I don't know how Eric's gonna do. I want the best for Eric, but I could see an early boot for Eric, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think spot on, like what I think as well. Except I think maybe like early merge could be a possibility.
I do like Eric has been talking a lot. He just got off work recently, like in the hour, so he has been talking to a lot of people. Eric's kind of a sleeper for me. I kind of think he can do well if he's like kind of like what Morgan was saying, was put in that power position. I think he could do well. Um, and like I think he falls in that category again of like, how will the people who have been playing orcs for a bit kind of like react or play with a bunch of people who are just starting out or are not really good, like known or not really like on this side of the community. So, and I want to see what Eric does when he's like presented an opportunity like that to work with someone that like is newer or like might not know as much. But Jackie, I know you're dying to talk about Eric, so
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna be like, so this person gets to talk next. Okay. Here's the thing. I literally just played with Eric and I begged Eric to apply to this season. And then he applies and he goes, shout out to Mike Jones. And I was like, Eric, I'm literally the person who sent you the application and was like, you need to fill this out. So I literally don't, how did I not get a shout out? I'm a little salty about it. So when I played with Eric, you could tell the difference between when he was fully in the game and when he wasn't. And that's because the energy went from 0 to 100. He was either not in the game, which happened because he was playing a second game at the same time, or he was 100% in it and causing all the chaos. Like he was there. He was in all the group chats, starting the shit with another player, like spreading information everywhere. He's in it. Like, and I think that's why I wanted him to play, because I noticed he was suddenly really active. I was like, yo, if you could bring this to Distortion, that'd be literally beautiful. I think just like Sub just said, if he isn't asleep, if he's in it, I think he could go pretty far. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know if it'd be like a winner pick, but I think he could at least make merge and pretty maybe a little bit into merge. I don't know if he'd be the mayor of of jury, but I think he could definitely get a little in there, because if he's fully in it, which I'm hoping he is because he's a little active, I'm thinking he can go pretty far.
all right, Mike. I know you have been dying to speak about Eric. So Benji, you can
Okay, yes, I will follow up with so yes, Jackie just played with Eric in the game that I hosted. So I definitely say these sentiments are spot on. Eric's very either all in or not at all. You can tell when he puts his heart into the game. What I would like to see differently from Eric this time around, he always has possessed that ability to get. I've only seen Eric get jury or like very early boot. And what I would like to see is him withholding certain information until certain times. What I see is that he'll do it on occasion, but I feel like with Survivor, that kind of information is even more of a commodity, more than in a Big Brother org sense. Um, so I would love to see him maybe pick those times a little differently, um, and hopefully have like a nice group of people. I would love to also see him in a power position. I've never seen him in one before. He's always kind of worked from not necessarily like the bottom, but like near there to where he kind of has to fight and be the underdog the whole way through. I would like, yeah, I would like to see him in a power position, but also be able to utilize that power position properly, to where he does set himself up to go further than what he's seen before, since he's came back into the org community. Has full potential, great guy, personally out of it. I think he does have very strong capabilities to win. It's just a matter of how he uses it and accesses those abilities when the time.
I think I because I personally don't know him like that. So, but based on what I've heard, he's someone who can either like do decently like okay, like at least like make the jury phase of the game, or is someone or he's kind of the person that'll slip in the pre-merge. I think it's all just going to depend how he navigates through this particular group of people. But I could see, based off from what I've seen, I see him being a likable personality to be able to do that. So I'm putting him kind of like late pre-jury, early merge for me. And finally, I guess the person who's been
Can we
waiting.
move on to the next person?
No,
Mike,
no,
you
no,
can
no,
go.
no, you're not gonna do it. Y'all doubting my boy like that. Eric, you got this.
I'm not doubting him.
Eric,
I'm absolutely
you
not
are
doubting him.
great.
I'm saying
You are
he has to do what he
okay.
needs to do.
In all seriousness. So I've seen Eric. Cam, correct me if I'm wrong here. Kind of overplay sometimes, especially in Spellbound. Told Eric, I love you. The worst lie I have ever seen in my entire life. It was so not good, but I am optimistic. I've seen him boom or bust in these games. I mean, he's obviously good in comps. He almost comped his way back into Kaleidoscope Season 5 after getting first boot, which I'm still mad about that one. But I think if Eric can, like Morgan said, just put the pieces together. I've seen him play from the bottom. I've seen him do well in comps. I've seen him do well socially, just not all at the same time. So let's see if that happens this time. And if not, Eric, I still love you.
I agree with that. That really just spoke to me. Like I've seen him do good in some aspects, but never altogether.
No.
So I hope that he gets the pieces together. And I also want to say, since Mother isn't here with us, Eric is a friend of Karen. And anytime I've played with Eric, I just like I want Karen to do the social game for Eric because Eric just seems kind of aloof sometimes and like I'm scared. I'm scared for Eric. I want Eric to do well because I love Eric, but
I see it as boom or bust.
Yeah.
maybe with smaller numbers. And
I also think comp wise, he does do well. He did win the battle back in Deception. Like he did win that way back. And then just socially kind of got himself screwed. But I think the fact that like he was at work, so he is coming back, like he immediately reached out to people too. He was like, "Oh, sorry, I was at work, but I'm here now. Like, are you still up?" Like he is still trying to reach out to people. So I'm being hopeful.
Yeah, I've always just seen him as like there's that one thing of like the football player who has the ball and then starts celebrating like 1 yard before he actually gets in the end zone and gets tackled like just short of the goal line. It's like, Eric, you've always just been like right there. Just finish the drill this time, Eric.
The sports references are not fitting the vibe.
Well,
Oh, well, speaking of sports, next up is J1.
Oh
Sports was not the best transition, maybe.
Well,
but-
no,
It
he had a
wasn't.
basketball in his.
Oh yeah, he had a basketball in his action shot. Okay. Next up is J1. He is 21 years old. He uses he him pronouns and is from California, USA.
Yeah. So from my experience of like seeing Jay play games, like I've usually found that he's really like thrives in the underdog position. Like when he's in power, it's like mixed, but when he's the underdog, like he can make it deep. I've seen it happen a few times. Like I have faith in J1 personally, and I'm interested to see how he does here.
So I've only seen Jay make the merge. I've never seen him go out early in any game he's played in. And in like the one game we actually spent a decent amount of time playing together in was Kaleidoscope. And one thing I realized Jay is really good at is lighting the entire game on fire. Like he is that scene in Mean Girls where everyone's fighting and Regina George is just standing there watching it, because every fight in that game was either about Jay instigated, or people fighting over Jay. And I'm so excited to not have to worry about that this time and to be on this side and watch it. Because if Jay thinks that Jay's in trouble at any point, he will just pour gas, throw a match, sit back, and just watch it burn. So I'm excited because I don't have to deal with that this time.
So here's my worry about Jay, and like I played with him. I would like to say once.
How'd that go?
Huh?
How'd that go?
It went okay. He betrayed me multiple times. And then got mad that I voted him out. But no. And then there was that other game, but he didn't do anything in that. So, that was Wheel.
Well,
So
we'll come back. You go
I'm
ahead.
still speaking. Thank you. It was a joke. It
Oh,
was a
sorry,
joke.
the
I'm joking. I'm
woman
joking. I'm
can't
joking.
talk.
I'm
No,
joking.
you're
I'm
no, no,
joking.
you're okay. You're okay.
I shut her up. Ugh. I am
Grace,
legally.
come get your man.
She's eating her. What is she eating? I don't even.
I'm
remember.
eating Oreos.
Not the point. Okay. Anyways, my thing is, I just don't want Jay to like. And I love you, Jay, and I hope you understand when I say this. I don't want Jay to become the laughing stock like he was in Kaleidoscope. Where like he literally was like, I have an idol, guys, and I'm gonna use it. And everyone's like, no, you don't. Stop playing. Like, no, you're lying.
You got to do it justice. It was, yeah, I'm playing my idol, and Keaton going, you don't have no damn idol. Shut up, Jay.
Yeah, they literally were like, Jay has no idol. It's whatever. Like, ignore him. And then he played it. And like, I just don't want it to the point where like people literally like don't even like give Jay like he doesn't have any credibility to like what he says. I think Jay could do well. I just hope that like I don't know. Jay's hit or miss for me. I want Jay to go far, like on a personal level, but I just don't know how he's gonna do it.
Well, Jay's tenacious though. Like he's scrappy. If he thinks, like I said, if he thinks it's his ass on the line, like he will do whatever. To like he'll lie, deceive, cheat, start a rumor, talk crap. I mean,
Well,
I'm here
here's
for
the
it.
thing. Here's the thing that, because I know him and Julia they're on the same tribe,
Oh, they had their CTC beef, yes.
and I can see a situation where he tries to go after her, and based on what people are saying, they're enjoying Jay, but I see people, as always, because it's Julia Rowe, protecting the fuck out of her, and he's going to be in trouble for it.
Does anyone else have anything they'd like to say about J1 real
I
quick?
do just because I also just played a game with Jay where he got voted out, and his exit, he literally called out 3 people, and like one of them made sense. It was the person who nominated him for eviction. It made sense. The other two people came out of left. It was like left field. I'm like, why did these other people just get brought up? And literally, I will say that I like, I don't even understand how that fucking happened. It was just like it was like the Vicky call out. I was like, hold the fuck up. What just happened? Like all of us are just sitting in the call. So I think that if drama were to start, I think Jay would possibly be the one to drag it out. And I'm living for it because I think this might be the redemption that I needed to see from him.
This season's
Okay.
gonna
Morgan, you got this.
It's my time. This is my org twin. Like, we started orgs together. We were Rookie Revolution. I love Jay. Jay is a freaking firecracker from hell, takes no shit, is not afraid to just literally, exactly like you said, just blow shit up just to blow it up, just because there's no other option other than just like die. So Jay will just be like, you know what? I'm not just gonna die. I'm gonna throw everything at the fucking wall right in front of everyone. And sometimes it works. I like that Jay is not afraid to do things. I think Jay has that like killer instinct to do things in games that people lack a lot. A lot of people just like to slide by, where Jay comes into each game and wants to win. So I'm really excited for Jay. I want Jay to thrive. I've been begging Jay to play Distortion. So I'm really excited. I want Jay to do well. I've seen Jay do well from the bottom, like we've said. And Jay has also done well in like this sort of middling position. I think that's where Jay really thrives, where like if he can get into this position where a few people trust him, he can really do damage because he's not afraid to flip and twist things around. He doesn't need to stick with one alliance to get to the end. I could see him being a very fluid player. So I'm really excited for what Jay's going to bring to the season. I really hope he doesn't get caught up in drama from other orgs because that would just be awful. I would hate that.
I just hope that he's not, because he tends to also be really messy. Because I had my one experience in Kaleidoscope with him, and he was a mess from everything that I've heard that happened. I hope maybe he has better control now that he's played more games. He has better control of it.
Well, I will say, I feel like Jay. It's hard because it's not like a thing that he controls. It either works out for him, the mess works, or the mess completely backfires. I feel like the mess comes regardless of whatever game Jay plays. And it's just, does Jay work with the mess and the mess projects him further, or does the mess completely bury him? Those are the two options. It's never like Jay's just gonna fly and lay low the whole time. That never happens. So I'm really excited.
Real. Oh, I will also say my facial expressions for whenever they watch this back is from a separate conversation that's being had, not on anything Jay related. But I will say, um, I've never hosted Jay or gotten to play alongside Jay, but what I will say from what I've seen, Firecracker is definitely an understatement. He knows how to fight, swing, kill, do what needs to be done, and it's entertaining to watch in the process. Like he's not like rude, but he's certainly like dead ass cutthroat, um, which is definitely something that's gonna spice up the game. I don't. mm, how do I say this? I definitely think that Jay has a lot to offer in not only in that regard, but in his strategic sense. As Morgan just said, we've seen him on a great like middle ground, being able to utilize that power, but also not being able to mitigate that threat level to where no one necessarily looks at Jay all the time. Like they're aware that he's there, but then there's someone else to go after instead of him, which I think will work very well in um a survivor style game. Like you don't need to like go leaps of like years beyond. You just need to make sure you can survive the next round and the next round. It helps to start out that way, but when it comes to like brass tacks to do what you need to do, you just need that one shot, that one chance to really turn the tide in your favor. And I think we well we have a really great cast in general, but with the caliber that this cast has, I think he has the ability to do that if needed. Um, and I feel like maybe depending how socially everything goes, that he'll be able to utilize that skill to his advantage. Because I don't think anyone's just going to sit around idly by the season, not by any stretch of the imagination.
Right. And having played with Jay, I think one thing that Jay is really susceptible to is falling for the wrong information. When I played with him my first time around, I think Jay has this issue with like perception. Like his perception of other people is sometimes really off. Um, when I played with him in our rookie debut into orgs, um, it was very clear to like every single person in the game exactly where I stood. I had nothing. I was on the bottom, and the one person I was close with was Jay. And Jay still believed the majority group that like I was trying to turn against him, which didn't make any sense. Like no stretch of the imagination would that ever make sense, but he still like believed it. So that's where I'm like a little worried about Jay is that sometimes his reads are just like really off. And I hope that's not the case.
But I can say, like, having gone through the kaleidoscope with him, she was good because his number one ally, I mean, we all knew it was Jacob Adorno. And like he knew at some point, like he was ready to cut him when the time came. And he was up there for best strategic player that season because he knew enough to have some relationship with everybody there come like mid to late merge time. So he was putting in the work and he was, making stuff happen. So
All right. So that's everything for Jay. Next up is JJ Clutch, 35. He, him, Washington. And when I tell you, um, uh, this isn't an opinion. I think this might be a statement. JJ is one of the best work players I've ever experienced in my whole life. He statistically has, I think, more wins than losses in orgs. And so I have a lot of hope for him. Um, he just won the last game I played with him. So, but I'm excited to see what y'all think.
Yeah, like I've only seen JJ play once, and that was like the CTC season that Grace won in. And like from what I heard from like his first season, he won that in like a pretty powerful fashion or something, I believe, and had just won Conflict, which Seb just played with him. So I definitely can see JJ making a very deep run in this game, like without a doubt, like in my mind at all. Like I think he's making it really deep in the game, whether it's like a slow start or like starting right off bat. I think he's gonna make it pretty far.
I'll just go quickly because I actually don't know JJ. So I think just seeing the conversations tonight, as well as knowing a little bit of his winning history, the only thing I get a little worried about is just the fact that he does have a history of winning. And so, everyone says I don't want my outside org to like matter going into a new org, but I think like some people do still care about that going into a game. So I just worry that some of the people who have played games, especially if you've already won a game, if that ends up like taking effect, especially since he just recently won. So I don't know if it'll be other people's perceptions that take him out or if not, because I think he could go far in this game. I mean, he's social, so I think this will be interesting.
Yeah, like Jackie, I don't know JJ at all, but one thing I've learned is that people's perception is hard to kick against, whether you're really good at these games or you're related to somebody. It's hard to get that. So if people have that idea that he's this major threat and he's so good at these, you know, that means he might be kept around as a shield for a long time or he's bounced out early, but we'll see.
Well, like that's the thing is like, and I think the reason JJ is gonna do well is like not only on his like social strategy, but like he's really good at comps, and like that's what happened in conflict was like basically like he made it to final like six or like final five with like this a 4-person alliance that like all wanted him out, and he basically like won the last few challenges. So I think that's the thing with JJ is like he usually does get clocked around mid merge, but like he always has the comps to back it up.
Yeah, JJ, he's definitely I've known him for a while now. And he is definitely a strong player. And he's like one of those people who is strong at all three parts of Survivor, the social, the strategic, physical. He has a good combination of the three of them, and that's what makes him this strong player. And he continues to prove that as he keeps winning these games and as he keeps going far every time he plays. And I see him definitely doing that in this game for sure. He just has it in him. And I see him doing well here. And he's already like looking at the people he's clicking with the people on his tribe right now. And I think this is gonna be a good run for him. I could potentially see him as a winner, but also we kind of like talked about it. Like I feel so the person who's gonna win this game is going to be someone who's not as well known. It's someone who's gonna be cool. I just get that.
So
And he's someone to me who is well known.
the real question here is will JJ win a third game Grace is on prod for?
I don't know.
Also, too, are there enough newbies here that don't know him that might be something he could use to his advantage?
It's
I think,
possible,
like-
but it just takes one person to mention
Yeah.
it for it to be brought
It
up.
does, yeah, it really does.
And I think the good thing about JJ here is like, yeah, he does have a lot of like org wins under his belt. But, like the only people who, like I'm looking at this cast here, the only people who like really be like, oh yeah, like I know he won an org would be like Marvin and Julia. And that's because they voted for him to and Sam, but that's because they voted for him to win. Like
And the other thing with JJ too is that he has his comps to help him get far and to keep moving forward by winning those immunity challenges. But I also feel this group of people physically, I think he's gonna have a little competition with that.
Morgan, do you have any thoughts?
I don't know who this is. So I
Awesome.
don't really have any thoughts.
Her. Well, that's everything about JJ. I think we're gonna be talking a lot about this next person. Julia Rowe, 21, she, her, New York. Julia is a good friend of mine. Been trying to get her to play for a long time. And for anyone who's watching, shout out to Julia. She very much helped us last minute replacement for us. And so thankful. But my thoughts are this is that like I think she's gonna get like fifth or fourth. And I feel like that's just how it is with Julia nowadays. And like I love Julia. I think she's a fantastic player. But like that's the thing, is that like people catch on fast. And it's very obvious, like Julia is very like an an open book when it comes to the gameplay. Like when it comes to like you see her gameplay and you're like, oh, Julia's playing hard. And like I think the lot like it is weird. Like the games I think Julia won, like when she won Spellbound, like it's because like I didn't think that she was the biggest threat. I think that if Julia can like dive down her threat level, like yeah, she is like a spot straight at the top. So but I'm done talking about Julia.
Like, I don't know what to expect from Julia because like she's really good at these games, and but like another problem is like she's known for being super good at these games as well. And I feel like her placements always vary. I've seen her get first boot. I've seen her win. I've hosted her when she won Spellbound. So like I know that she has what it takes to get to the end and like get the votes in the end. But it's a matter of, are they going to let her get to the end? Because I think like since it is a lot of newer players as well, I think that there's a huge chance that she can make it. Like, I have to agree with Seb here, like fifth, fourth. Like, I'd say that'd probably be where I guess she would place. But I'm excited to see her play. I think she will definitely make a deep run.
I think she'll make a deep run, and I think I agree with everything else. I think she is primed to be a late boot. But if she gets to the end, she will most likely win. But I think she will play the perfect game to be last juror, second to last juror. She was saying that she's seeing herself as first boot. I mean, who knows that, whatever that is, but I know her being on the tribe with Jay, who knows where those two stand. That whole thing might blow up, but if Julia can get past that, which I'm sure she will, I see her sticking around for the long haul in this one. But I'm going to call it now. Julia will get third place in this game.
I was kind of thinking the same thing because I've played one game only with Julia before, which is I Survivor 37. She got like merge boot, but that is nowhere near the testament of the game we all knew she can and will play here. I would love to see, on a random note, I don't know if these two are on a tribe right now, but I can imagine and would love to see like a Chris O Julia duo. I feel like those two would be so damn deadly together.
They are not on the same tribe right now.
But imagine if they get like to merge and they manage to link up, become a duo, and get surrounded with a good amount of people. I think that would be absolutely deadly. I think she's a very calculated player. She understands where she's at all times. She's very self-aware. I think I'm not 100% sure where she is competitively, like on a competitive like competition scale, because I haven't had the benefit of watching her in that portion of things. But I definitely think she will also make a far run. I think Final Three is definitely within her grasp if she just fights that extra edge more. Um, yeah, I have high hopes for Julia. I really do.
I think that's what I just kind of got worried about is that like in her prod chat, she just wasn't very enthusiastic. But then literally as soon as the cast reveal happened, she was like commenting in her prod chat. And I was like, okay, so you are actually kind of invested because you are having all these comments. Or like, oh, I know this person, or oh, I'm excited to see this. Like, so I have to think that she is sort of invested now and how much she's been talking tonight. I think as long as she stays with that, I could 100% see her getting into merge, like maybe early merge, depending on who else gets to merge. But like, I think you're right, Benji. Like she is self-aware, so I feel like she could get pretty far. I don't see her as winner. I think that is just because like I don't know if this is exactly the cast I would see Julia as winner, but I 1,000%. I agree with what's been said.
I listen. I don't. So you never hosted Julia, Jackie, but that's just her. She thinks she's going every round. She's very much the like we make the Vicky reference where we say that Vicky every round wants to leave. Julia was like the first person I have ever like straight up like every round just like I'm done. That's it. I'm ready to go. Like there's no point in me staying. They're just gonna vote me out anyways. Like even like in the beginning, like yesterday, she was literally like, "It doesn't matter. I'm getting first boot." And I was like, Julia,
You can't be blindsided if you always think you're going home.
That's a terrible logic.
It's
Like,
fantastic.
okay.
What I will also say is that she's also not afraid to make those moves that rub people the wrong way. And that's a interestingly good skill to have because you're going to not your entire path in a game is not going to be super smooth to the end. If you do, it's a miracle. But she's also not afraid to like bump heads or like give across her point. I'm not going to say argue, but give across her point on why she's doing what she
Now
does.
she'll argue. She'll argue.
I was trying to be nice.
He'll almost kill Lawrence for messing up the challenges. Like,
but like, but
Hi.
she's not afraid.
Beehive.
Oh God. But she's not afraid to like make enemies or like have someone be like, okay, like creating a clear opposition there. Like she's unafraid to do what she needs to do to win the game and being unapologetic about it, which I love.
I think
Oh, go ahead, girl.
no, I was just gonna say. I think she always I've never seen her do bad in a game except for when she got first boot in Kaleidoscope. But
Mhm.
any other time I've seen her always do good when she plays. So, and I could definitely see the same thing here, especially that, like, she's definitely engaged with this group of people. So, I see her, and she kept being like, too, because she's going to be gone tomorrow. I'm going to get first boot. I'm going to get first boot. And, like, half of these people already commented that they like her. So, I'm like, if she continues that, like she's definitely going to be, and a lot of people tend to protect her too. I see that happening. And I feel what's really going, even though she made comments about William, they've been really like their conversations, they've been really clicking. I see that being a powerful duo in the making.
They're on starting tribes together.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
My thing with Julia is she's just like really personable. I've never played with her because she got first boot in my first game. But like all people talked about in the beginning of the game was like Julia was the first boot. Oh my god. And I was like, okay, I don't know who this is. But work. Good for her. But then the only time we've ever interacted was in a CTC Survivor chat, just talking about Survivor. Tell me why I was like, okay, we're best friends now. After literally exchanging a few messages back and forth. Like that's how easily she gets along with people. So I'm really excited for her. I really want her to do well. I need her to represent for the power couple.
Yeah, let's hope she does better than Fred.
She already is.
I highly think she will.
And the thing with her too, like she is definitely smart because like she was smart enough to order her food in advance at the Raising Cane's, so it was ready
Bye.
to get there
Bye.
while we stood in line for about
She was.
45 minutes waiting for the food. So
I thought Mike was about to pull out her stats or something, or like best move of Julia Rowe, and it's a Raising Cane's order.
It was a Raising Cane.
dude, like
She was
okay,
smart.
the line was out the door and she was like already sitting there like 4 tenders deep. We didn't get our food yet, so like she thinks ahead.
Anyways, next up is Logan. Let's see, Logan, 22.
I don't know who this person is. Very impressive DVD collection. Seems like a cool dude. I think he's got it.
I'm excited. So,
Seb, continue introducing Logan, please.
yeah,
Oh,
I know.
my bad. Sorry, I thought you were
Logan,
done. I love you.
22, he, him, Kentucky, and I'm gonna speak first because I recruited him. So
Oh.
Logan, 2 years ago, played a game that I used to be on prod for, but I was not on prod for the season he was on. It was called Room Limit. Um, but he did play really well, and he got to play with a bunch of he got to play, and so yeah, and so ever since that season ended, I've been trying to get Logan to apply for Distortion because that season ended when we started Distortion, really like season one. So I was like, okay, I really want this guy, and it took me 8 seasons to find him. And I finally found him. And now he's playing Distortion. I'm like really excited. One thing I do find interesting is that Logan and Marvin played that game together, but they're not in the same tribe. So I'm kind of interested to see how that goes, or even if they remember that they played together because that was so long ago. And I'm gonna turn this over to Cam because Cam said he knew him.
Very briefly. Like I played one mini with him. It was like the first ever and probably only speed game that I've actually played in. And I remember when he got nominated in it was a Big Brother one. When he got nominated, first thing he did was expose the fucking alliance that I was in with him. But I saw the cast photo, thought he looked familiar, and then I saw the profile picture when I joined the prod chat, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's exactly who I thought it was. But yeah, I haven't really interacted with him other than that game. Probably does not even remember who I am. But I'm interested to see how he plays and how different the gameplay is from speed to full game. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
I just want to say, I am so excited to have hillbilly representation. As a hillbilly,
Goodbye.
I'm allowed to say that as a fellow hillbilly. Um, I live for anyone in the, you know, uneducated states to really thrive in this community. So I have a soft spot here for the Kentuckian.
I will say Logan, regardless on gameplay, I think he's just gonna be fun to host. He made a comment after his interview saying that we were this is the most comfortable he felt in an org space in a bit. So I was like, wow, it's kind of nice to not only give someone that feeling right away, but also be like, yeah, you're gonna have fun.
How mean are the other prod teams he's interviewed with?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Like,
I mean,
damn.
One of his last orgs.
Yeah, but we're not gonna talk about that.
I kind of get it.
Anyway,
They run over with a car or something?
does
Jeez.
anyone else have anything they like to say about Logan?
Oh, go ahead, Grace.
I was like, I'm excited for him, especially because Seb would not stop talking about. I want that Logan guy who played Room Limit, and I'm like, I know that would be pretty interesting. But I could see he seems like he's another one of those people who I feel is kind of on the top of the first impressions with his tribe right now. And I definitely have high hopes for him, and I hope that he can be able to show that. I know the one time I seen him, which was Room Limit, he did make it the final two. I believe, yeah, he made it the final two. So it showed he is good enough to at least make it to that far into the game. So if he can just do that, like I see him definitely doing well. I don't know. He's gonna be a surprise.
I was just gonna say that I also don't know Logan, but in the like application where we asked like what you would describe yourself as, Logan put snakish, and I want to know if that part of him comes out in this game because I don't think I've ever met someone who would literally describe themselves as a snake, not intentionally or like by choice. Like when you're asked for five descriptions, like okay, but not yourself. Like you would describe someone else, maybe.
No,
but
I'm pointing at Cam. Yeah, I'm pointing at Cam.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe in like the first five adjectives, snake isn't what comes to mind. So the fact that that's what came from like that's what came to Logan's mind. I'm just curious to see like what's going on there. Like what is that? You know?
Real.
I will say that's like the quintessential saying of like know thyself. Like if you're gonna call yourself a snake, then very
Logan
much
said,
into
"I know I'm bad. I know I'm
right,
villain. It's okay."
like straight
He's
out.
giving himself a license to play the game. He is not going to care who he makes mad. He's not going to play emotionally. Good for him.
Yeah.
Real.
Really
It
cam
kind
quoted.
Hmm?
Really
But
cam coded.
yeah,
it is. It also gives me with because we both Jackie and I and Morgan got to play with this person on a deeper level. It kind of gives me Tyler Bard coded a little
Oh, I
bit.
can kind of.
Why in my head did I kind of think David? But yes, also Tyler. In my head, I was thinking David. I was like, David.
The reason I say
Um,
Tyler was also in that same kind of mind frame to
hmm.
where he was like, girl, we're playing an org. I'm not gonna be afraid to make these moves. It's gonna look this, that, and the third, and I don't care.
We'll get to him eventually.
and
Right. Oh, I also like the fact that he's a super fan of Survivor as he shows every single DVD set that he has of Survivor. So he clearly knows the game that he's coming into. But let's see how well he does with Thrilltopia.
yeah.
Right.
And another thing I've noticed, like you mentioned that his one of his description was snaky. Like as long as you own it, like you've got to own it, then you're set. But also, this cast doesn't really give off the vibes that they would respect a snake game, honestly, like from my perception.
This game is giving me very snake eat snake. Like it's gonna be a lot of snaky people try to be the
Yeah.
biggest snake.
And I feel like people are going to get pissed that they get outsnaked.
I think with this
Right.
many people that are this good at these games, you might see some bruised egos when they get outplayed by somebody.
Yeah. And like newbies as well, especially like their first
Yeah,
game.
newbies, first cut's the deepest. So
Yeah,
I
second
think,
cut is funny, but
yeah, I think you might see some, as Jackie likes to call them, bitter jurors this game. So
oh right.
I do
Well,
love a good bitter juror.
but that's everything about Logan. Next up is Marvin. Marvin is give me a second, 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 give me a second. Marvin is 29. Him is currently living in Japan. And I'm nervous for Marvin. Um, I I'm a big Marvin fan. I love Marvin, but I just think like I don't know. He makes me nervous, and most of it's time zone because I know when he's not or when he's stationed in the states, he can do really well. But I just know like playing with him in CTC was like a lot. When you had to catch him at the right time, the right place, and if sometimes he's at work, but sometimes he's not. It was a lot. But I think Marvin could do well. I'm a Marvin stan. I just he says that he got his time zone in check, and I'm excited to see if that's the case.
Yeah, I'm interested when it comes to Marvin because I feel like Marvin is either like hit or miss. And when it's hit, like he usually is like pretty good. But when he misses, yeah. like it really does depend on like how much the time zone affects him personally because like I feel like it could be a potential factor to get him an early boot. But like, who knows? If he says he's gotten in check, I think he could make it like mid merge. Like,
Yeah, and something I want to slip in real quick, just because I find it important, is like with a lot of newbies, like we don't have like the biggest like connections and that kind of stuff, which is really thankful for. But probably the biggest connection in the whole game right now is got to be Julia and Marvin. They're super close outside of the game, super close when they played CTC together, and so I'm just kind of like I'm interested to see how they like bring that game or like bring that relationship forward, if it'll be exposed, if like they genuinely decide, okay, this is the game we don't play together in.
Well, that's one thing I'm definitely. Oh, sorry, Benji.
No, it's okay. Because I will speak on that just a little bit. I've played in games where Marvin knows, quite a few people. What I've experienced with that is that he doesn't just stick to that. I think Marvin understands and will always keep in perspective that it's an individual game. Yes, you always want to play with your friends. I'm completely like, I have also done and have been in the realm of that. But Marvin also has that wherewithal to understand what also separates him from his friends because he also knows how they play the game. So I think he can definitely utilize those connections, and also be able to separate the two. I know we're a little nervous time wise because I know he's in a whole other country, but if anyone can do it, it's going to be Marvin. Marvin gives that same amount of tenacity, that same amount of fight, that same amount of energy I've seen every single time I've played with him. It's never wavered. Um, so I do have high hopes for Marvin. I am cheering for Marvin. I am also a Marvin stan. Um, I've seen times where like he just can't catch a break or he does really well. There's literally no in between that I've personally seen. I'm hoping that he'll be able to gain some social capital pretty well early on to be able to take him to as far as he can potentially make it. I know that his potential is endless. I know he can make it really, really far. So I'm rooting for him to do so.
I mean, the thing with Marvin, though, it does concern me, though, the Julia connection. Because, I mean, Zeb, if you think back to our season at CTC, Julia had the first pick of the entire cast. And who did she pick? Marvin above anybody else. So I don't know a ton of pre-existing relationship to this cast, but I know that one. So that could be something that works against them, like y'all said. I don't think the time zone will be that big of a deal because I think I've seen him make it work in the past. But thing with Marvin is like I know he's someone if you tell him something and he's not with you, it will not stay between you two. He will tell. He will tell. He is TMZ in these games. If he's not with you, he will just tell every. He will take one thing you say, spin it, and screw up your entire game, and you're gone. So I'm hoping to see that.
I think if we could use a cast
leaker,
assessment as an episode
tribe.
thing. No, go ahead, Grace.
I was like, oh, we got the leaker tribe then. Because somebody they were saying that Coach was gonna it was Chris who said that about Coach earlier. And her and Marvin are on the same tribe.
So it'd be very exciting if that tribe goes to tribal first.
I think either one of these tribes, that first tribal is going to be amazing.
I hope so. If it isn't, I feel like it's gonna be sad. I was just gonna say that if we could have episode quotes from the cast assessment, it would literally be that one, which is they are TMZ in this game. I was just gonna say that I don't know Marvin. I only know from previous games, which is that Marvin and Joey obviously have a relationship. I will say though that going based off of other work placements, I do see Marvin getting to merge. And so I do just kind of worry about that Julia and Marvin relationship of how far are either of them willing to let that go in this game. Only because when there are so many newbies in a game, that's almost kind of like your chance to kind of let go of old relationships because you don't know what could build with new ones. And so I'm just kind of interested to see what Marvin does with that opportunity.
I think to also capitalize on that as well, with having a lot of newbies or like various different relationships. Um, I don't think anyone would also want to make it quote unquote predictable to where they could also be pinned like that. That way it's like, oh, I knew that this is gonna happen because so and so said this, and we know that they're together, blah blah blah. I think they're going both Julia and Marvin are going to do whatever possible to work together, but also keep that at a distance. That way it's not clocked.
I think it also helps that they're on two different tribes. Like we specifically made sure that they were not going to start in the same tribe because we
Real.
did not want to see that happen like
Right.
straight off the
That would have
bat.
been so disastrous.
It would have been so rotted.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's everything about Marvin. We-
I was just gonna
oh,
say that anytime I've seen him play, I don't see him usually do well, and that's due to like he's not as active. And this was even before he went to Japan, like when he was in the States. But I saw how like around he was more around in CTC than I've seen him before. So maybe I'm hoping this game will be different and he will be more around because I think if he is, he's going I think he will do well enough. But if he's not, then he's definitely gonna be gone early.
Yeah, I have a comparison I could see between Marvin and somebody, and I could see it being like from shout out to Joppy from both Andromeda and Timeline of Terror. I could see Marvin playing either like how Joppy did in Andromeda or how Joppy played in Timeline of Terror.
What, getting sick and disappearing for 2 weeks?
Or being there the whole time.
Yeah, like I could see it being one of those two, like gameplays from him.
all right. If that's everything, next up is Rachel. She's 28. She, her from Bristol, Connecticut. And yeah, uh, just some background. Tyler recruit, but I'm super excited. I thought that she's bringing a lot of energy straight out to the game. She's very excited, a little lost, but I think she's gonna do well. She does have Tyler in her prod chat, which love you, Tyler, and I'll explain this later if you want me to. Tyler tends to not give the best advice as a prod chat guest.
Well, he doesn't have LJ telling him what advice to give.
Shut up. That's not what I was saying. What
Love
I'm
you
saying,
both when you watch this.
no, but I'm saying
That was
like
shady as hell.
Well, I was saying it just because like in Andromeda, like I feel like in Andromeda, like he didn't give like Joppy like world changing advice. It felt very generic. And so, and I love you, Tyler. I could explain later, but this isn't about Tyler, so I'm gonna move on. Um, I think she's gonna do fine. I do see her going far if she could understand, like, because like she's like one of those. She is a super fan of Survivor, so if she could just get the grasp of like orgs itself, I think she could do well.
Just from her intro video, I like her. She gives off like just really good, almost wholesome vibes, which I'm a little afraid to think we might ruin her.
Oh my god. So I do have to say that like I've never met Rachel in my life, but she gives mother energy. Like you know like when you get those vibes that like somebody is just like easy to connect to and like super likable. I get that from Rachel personally. And like I also love that she like had the Disney ears in her picture for the cast photo because that really does fit the theme perfectly. And like her in Meet Me video was even like so easy to like connect with. Like I personally like just by not even meeting her, I want to see her do well. Like she's already misted me. Like I I'm really interested to see her play.
You hear that, Rachel? You missed the winner of last season.
I don't know if anyone
So
else got this vibe. I kind of felt like a Gen vibe, and I don't know if it's just like the Disney adult vibe that I also sometimes vibe with, but I felt like it was like a Gen vibe, and I feel the same, Cam. I really want to see her do well.
I really do too. Like, well,
Like
also too, we're from the same hometown, me
I
and her.
will say
So
she
I gotta
just
represent for the Bristol people.
I will say she loses like the slightest bit of points for me. I mentioned this before the call, but she looks so much like my aunt that I just
Which one?
like one of I have an aunt Ginger from my mom's side, like one of those like second aunts, you know.
Shout out Aunt Ginger.
Yeah,
Shout
I
out
know.
Aunt
Shout out
Ginger.
Aunt
Yeah,
Ginger.
She
you
does
mean
look
our
like
our
Rachel
mom's side
looks.
of the
they're
family.
like
You can ask
so
Grace. You can
similar.
ask Grace.
For you, Aunt Ginger. You go, Aunt
They
Ginger.
look so alike. And
Cheers.
every time I see Rachel, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe how much she looks like my aunt.
Zeb, you
That's
mean
it.
our mother's side of the family, right?
No, I mean mine. Anyways, does anyone else have Morgan? You have anything to say about Rachel?
Okay, so if Rachel's a friend of Tyler and Tyler's in the prod chat, I'm worried. I think we've already touched on it, but Tyler is fun and fun to play with, but Tyler is also like trusts himself a little too much in his judgment on things, whereas I would not. Um, so I hope she just like plays her own game. I could see her really getting along with people. And I want the best for her too. I think everybody's like sitting here rooting for her.
One thing that I picked up on when she was recording, and I don't know if it's just a teacher thing, but her eloquence and in the way she speaks is definitely something I like to pick up on when it comes to intro videos, because those people are going to know how to talk circles around you. Like they know how to get their point across. If it's a lie, they know how to lie their ass off in a way that it doesn't look like they lying their ass off. They'll be able to like fight very like detailed in that sense.
No, for real. Don't take her to FTC. She'll make a lesson plan on you.
But
She
will
literally
these
will
teachers
create a bullet point like 2 hour presentation on why she should win, and I would sign up for all of it. It would be a lecture, it's a TED talk. I'm here for it. If you could sell me in 2 minutes or less with your words, imagine what she could do socially, and if she makes it to the end, that is deadly. Whether she gets there, we yet to see. I think that she has potential socially to do that. I don't know what her comp prowess is, considering I think she's a newbie, correct? Okay. So with that being said, I would like to see how she fares in competitions, but I don't think she'll need to rely on that. We have quite a few heavy hitters that are able to navigate socially or in multiple different aspects. I think her main thing is going to be that social strategy. She seems like that very likable Disney adult, as everyone's so commented. And I think her social game is going to get her far. I would love to see what other aspects she's going to bring, and I think she's definitely going to bring them.
you know who she was giving me vibes from, like in terms of Survivor players? She was giving me Erica from season 41. Just very
Mm,
nice, very I don't think anyone's gonna be looking at her, but I think she can do some really crazy stuff in the background and no one will be looking at her. But she's kind of giving low-key mastermind vibes.
do you think she's gonna give the "You're welcome for being here" speech?
I hope so.
oh my god.
Like, I hope so. Like I have high hopes for her. And to steal a quote from Karen, we love a newbie because you know she may love this or she thinks we're all crazy.
Like, just based on vibes, she's my winner pick. Just based on vibes. Like, never met her before, but just like the vibe of a winner. But it would also depend on her strategy. I don't know if what her strategy would be. But like if she's got good strategy, then she's definitely someone to look out for.
Also, Tyler, we love you, by the way.
I see her. I think, especially if y'all are saying she speaks very eloquently and she is like just this nice woman. I see her definitely doing well socially. I think that she's one of those people, she just has to be herself and just talk the way she does, and people are going to gravitate towards her. And I feel that's really going to help her. But with this being her first game, though, I feel she's probably gonna struggle with the strategy side of it a little. And that's like any new player as well, unless you just know exactly what you're doing. But you're just trying to figure out, like, hey, how does this work? So I can definitely see that from her, but she could strategically dominate as well. You never know. And she could ignore everything Tyler says to her.
Some people do win on their first game. Like we've seen it.
Yeah, like Mike. Oh,
Yeah, right.
I mean, if they win reverse
and to Benji's point though, like comps aren't everything because the person who won last season like didn't win shit the entire time. So you know, right?
I was still for some reason in the list for comp beast.
Yeah, because Cam kept getting second. Not the point of this discussion.
Horseshoes and hand grenades, Cameron.
And that's why you didn't win.
Anyway, next contestant, please.
Next contestant we have Sam. He's 35. He, him, and he's from Liverpool. Now, fun fact, I didn't realize when we were tribe dividing, we put 2 spellbound winners on the same tribe. So this will be interesting. Sam and Julia on the same tribe. But I played with Sam a couple of times. He won my first Survivor org I played. So I'm excited to see how he does, especially because the last org he played, he won. So I'm interested to see if he comes into this with a I want to win another one attitude, or I'm here to have fun type attitude.
I'm still not convinced he doesn't want to kick my ass. So
like, yeah, I've hosted Sam in Spellbound where he did get, which was his last word, that he did win. And like, sorry to say this, but his jury management in that game, no, it was not good, but he still managed to get the win though. Like,
was it really that bad though if he won still?
It was pretty bad. Like making alliances with someone and then voting them out right after the alliance was sort of thing.
Let me ask you this. Was the same way his jury management was the same way he played overall when it came to the relationships that he had with people in general, whether it was tied to a vote at the end or not?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Yes, so you mentioned his jury management was, for lack of better words, shit. So with that being said, I'm asking, does that also leak into his overall gameplay and the way his relationships, at least from what you've seen and how they delve into his relationships in the game, either in any existing capacity? Is that kind of pretty much the same across the board?
I think it depends because when I hosted, he like had those close bonds, like that majority alliance, and like was really close with people. But then like when he voted them out, it really stung for some people and like they were mad about it. So like I do think he is a really good socially up until he has to stab them in the back sort of thing. Like I feel like Sam is very hit or miss with games because I've played with him as well, and like when I played with him, I got along with him. But like we'll see how it goes. I think he's either going to make it like mid merge or like maybe could be like a late pre-juror. But like, and another thing, like his time zone, even though he does have like a separate time zone from most people, he still has like he still has a really good social game despite living all the way in the UK. So like
I agree with him on that because like when I played in Kaleidoscope with him, he was like the first person that like I really clicked with and really built trust with. The only problem with him was like he was in a position where he, whether or not we don't know, had advantages, had some power in the game, and it kind of seemed like it went to his head, and he felt he was in control and was really trying to dictate the way where things were going, and because of that, come time for people to divide up the tribes at the swap, the whole plan of dividing the tribes up was what's the best way to get Sam out of this game. It's because he was just kind of doing the most with it. So then the time came and we voted him out like mid early merge. So we'll see how it goes from here. But my experience is that he was good until he started getting some sway and some power, and then he just kind of started to go off the rails a little bit.
I think it's just interesting. This is another person who described themselves as a villain. So I'm just kind of interested. He did also choose to mention that in his like most recent orgs, he placed fourth, third, second, and first, and then said, "I think I need to win first again." So I'm just kind of interested to see where he lasts. And he was very enthusiastic about playing this season. So I think this is just going to be really interesting. I do agree. I do definitely see him making merge. I'm just not exactly sure where he would place in merge. But again, I think that's just like who he would get to merge with and how well he socially is able to. Because I mean, as long as the time zone doesn't get in the way, he's a pretty social person. So I could see it.
He's also very good at comps too.
I don't know Sam. I haven't really paid attention to any game they've been a part of, but I obviously thrive with my fellow villains and being a little sneaky and backstabbery. So if somebody says they're going to be a villain, you have my stand card. Don't mess it up.
Right. Well,
Wait, I didn't go yet.
you didn't speak fast enough. You're too late.
No,
Line's
not
too
me.
long. You didn't catch the roller coaster.
Wait, I played with Sam. I played with Sam once, and that was a long time ago. That was like about 3 years ago, and that was in 1984. And he got first boot in that game because he was a mess, and he kept spam calling people too. That was a time. So, like, playing wise, that's the only experience I have with him. But I've seen him, like, just on a viewer perspective, do better in other games. So maybe if he's done better in other games, like, past that, I could see I think he could do, like, at least make the merge in this game. But, like, if he still has those messy, like, tendencies, I could see that getting caught on very quickly and he goes. But I hope that he could get far enough though.
All right. And we move on to our second to last player. We have Vandal, also nicknamed Skater Cat, 44, she, her, from Connecticut. And I know that Cam is just dying to talk about Vandal. So, Cam, take it away.
I don't know Vandal. I think she's brand new to orgs, if I were to guess. but I I could see her. I will compare her to somebody that is on this call, Mike. So I could see her either getting out early or making it far. Like I don't see an in between with Vandal. Like I think that if she makes it far enough, she could like have a deep run, maybe like get FTC possibly. But there's also that part of me that's like worried that like since she's brand new, no connections, like that she could get taken out like very early into the game. But I am hoping for the best for her and looking forward to seeing her play her first game because that first one's always special.
I I don't know Vandal. We live in the same state. I hope to meet Vandal one day. This entire like interview process and starting of the game, I have loved every second of it, including the cat puns. I like the video of Vandal like roller skating as an intro. I've truly like the cast photo of Drew ranking. Like I absolutely have loved every part of it. I am curious to see how they do comp wise because I'm not 100% sure that their social game could carry them very far. But it's also night zero and they had plans, so I totally get it. I'm so excited to see this person play.
I said this as soon as I saw the cast pick drop. This is somebody that I just like need to experience a game with. Like I need this to happen sometime eventually because it's giving like kooky character. It's giving like Debbie Korong. Like I love a character moment, and this is like I just know I would have a ball. I would have a fucking ball. So I'm really excited. I hope Vandal does really well. Like if there's anyone I'm rooting for, even the people that I'm friends with, I'm like, sorry, no, this is Mother.
So if you asked me like when I started distortion or like when we started distortion, who was like the last person or one of the last people I thought would be playing, Vandal would probably be on that list. The fact that she's even on this cast is wild to me. The fact that she's she's like having fun. She's like talking to these people, socializing. I do think obviously she was a little busy tonight, but the fact that she like doesn't know how these work at all, really, and the fact that she was like busy and talking to these people, I think she did do. I think she could do pretty well. Especially she is a gamer at heart, so she could bring that into this game. I could see her doing well. Mike.
I got a lot to say about this one. I love Vandal. Vandal is a great friend of mine, and she is exact Cam, you are 100%. She is exactly like me, where we just don't care. We just will say crazy stuff. We will just say do whatever and whatever. We're just unapologetically us. I see this as complete boomer bust, like Cam said. Vandal is either going to be the first person out of this game, or she is going to get dragged to the end and eaten alive at FTC. Vandal, love you, but I can say that. I don't see any in between. I see this as I am prepared, as she said, for just come in hard and die quick. Like it's just gonna be complete boomer bust. But I am happy Vandal's here, and I just hope it goes well. And this is just all part of the goal to just get everyone in Connecticut to play one of these at some point.
Grace.
That's been interesting. Um, Vandal, I, it took me a second to realize that I was like, oh, Mike brought an IRL in, that's cool. And then literally like a couple days ago, I asked Seb, I'm like, wait, is this the girl that we watched Money in the Bank with? And someone was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, that's a fucking queen right there. I'm very excited for her to be playing, and I really hope like for her first game she could do well. At first I didn't know how to feel because she wasn't like as around with like the materials and stuff, but like she came on tonight and she's just talking to people. I will say my concern is there's been like conversation. I mean, it was from somebody on that tribe. They said that like she's a little bit of a dry texter, and I hope maybe if she got on a call or something, like it would be different. But it'll be different. But I think if she like if they're fine keeping her around, like I see her doing well enough in this game. And also, happy Catterday. She told someone I'll see you on Catterday, so I'm gonna start saying happy Catterday.
So glad I talked her into playing this.
Getting to interview Vandal was a lot of fun. I do agree she is very Mike Jones coded. I do think that her persona is someone who is probably going to be perceived as like very aloof and like, very relaxed, very not necessarily on the wayside, but like kind of just relaxes and takes her time and surveys the area. And then continues to come into her own with her social game. When we talk about sleepers, I think she has the potential to fit in this category, just because I don't think people will be like suspicious of her right away. Yes, I know she's a dry texter. However, I've played with people that are like that, but then on call they're very enigmatic, they're very charismatic and charming. It's like you just have to understand, especially with social game being a very important part of any of these competition games. You just gotta know which medium best reaches people. Just because it's not the same as yours does not mean they don't give that same amount of energy somewhere else. You just gotta be able to meet them halfway. Um, I definitely think that if as a strategist she kind of plays on how people perceive her, it will definitely take her far. Because if she decides to play that up and, use like some using that persona or using her weaknesses as her strengths in that sense, I think it would be very nice to watch. I enjoy those kind of games where I know it's not the same game, but like to give a similar style of gameplay, like Paris from BB Can 6 used her persona, even though she is not that, to further launch her platform of where she was positioned in the game to where she was not touched until like very late game. I see the potential of Vandal's game if she were to utilize it like that, knowing that she has some gamer strategy within her. I think she can. I think she has potential to do very well for being a newbie.
All right. And last but certainly not least, another recent org winner. We have William. William is 29. Him from Alabama. And I don't know much about William. He was a last minute applicant. He I didn't do his interview. All I know is that he won Kaleidoscope. That's it. But I'm excited. I think and Billy. I think Billy's not here, but Billy played with him. I don't know anyone else who played with him, but
Hello, Benji.
Wait, you mean you weren't on last season of Kaleidoscope?
Rude.
I was there. I just didn't interact with him. Anyways, Benji.
Yeah, I got to play with William in the season that he just recently won of Kaleidoscope. William's very outwardly like sociable and definitely a natural charmer when it comes to bringing people onto his side. Um, I started with him on that tribe of Romulus. There we go. I was on Romulus tribe with him for a few rounds. We didn't really have any issues because Romulus never seemed to lose. But getting to know him, I got to work closely with him. He's very loyal until he's loyal to an extent, which is something I always like to see. Because you can't be loyal to everybody all the time. You have to understand and learn where to cut people, but also not to burn that bridge. And let's see, where else? When we came around to merge, he definitely had those quite a few numbers around him to where he was protected. He's very comp capable. I think he won his way to the final two, pretty sure, against one. Yeah. And if I'm also not mistaken, it was the most comp wins that season. So whenever he is in a sticky situation, he knows how to get himself out. There's something I do want to point out. He ended up getting there's a special twist in Kaleidoscope at Final Five. The way they decided to do it was you get to snipe someone at Final Five based on the trust rankings that you got over the season. But it wasn't for the most liked. This season it was for the least like trusted house. Not house guys. Least trusted contestant. And he managed to nab that, although it did better position him. I think it also that slight glimpse of that also kind of intrigues me to see how he either downplays or if he can manage to downplay until it's necessary his threat level. Because I'm pretty sure the only reason he was like that, if he was so well covered, was because people weren't onto his game and that they understood Williams' position. They understood that if he gets to the end, he can win. He just did not let it happen. So I'm excited to see him play. We'll see if he wins again. This is good. As I said, we have a very decorated cast of newbies with big personalities and people who've been around the community and understand kind of the overall of how to play these games. So we're gonna have a good time. That's all I'm gonna say.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm excited to see William play. Like after watching Kaleidoscope, he did really good in Kaleidoscope. Like definitely deserved that win. Like I think that he did so well personally. And my only concern though, like I think he's gonna be good socially. However, that that Meet Me video, I don't know if people were looking into it, but he let it all out there in that intro in that Meet Me video.
Oh, they were. They some people they caught it.
Yeah, like that's something to worry about when it comes to William because he just spilled everything. Like, oh, I just recently won an org. I like strategic. Yeah. But overall, I'm super excited to get to see him play this game.
Oh, I haven't. This is the first time I'm ever like personally interacting with the guy. Like I've never met him for that. I just know he won Kaleidoscope. Oh, I already love this guy. Like he immediately like first of all, he's a server. That's I will say that that is a battle that he is probably going to face in this game, and that's like like, and I'm speaking honest, all servers or people who work in the restaurant industry, especially at night, we get it really hard in these games sometimes. And I just hope that people respect that and are like diligent with it because like there's a lot of times where they're not. And I hope that like people just like, yeah, you're at work, like we completely get it, like we got you. But I think he can like navigate around that for sure. Um that intro video, like what Cam was talking about, that is a little if you get in a little too detailed, that's a little alarming. Like, and you don't want to make the wrong impression. But here's the thing is that there's a, like, I feel he's been having some really good conversations so far. And I think, like, despite what he said in his video, I think he can be likable enough to where he won't get targeted. And I could see him being like one of those people on the tribe that's just going to be pulled into all these alliances and pulled in like, oh, I want to work with you because there's a couple people that are like, oh yeah, I like William, I like him. So as long as he doesn't go the way he went about it, kind of like in his intro video, and he just doesn't do that, I think he could do well in this game. But if he gets a little too powerful, I don't know. Was this his first org? Like, was Kaleidoscope his first org?
No.
He's played before his first win.
Okay, he's played before. I was gonna be like, I hope. I'm glad to hear that because like I said, Kaleidoscope was the first time I ever heard of him. And
He
I
said
don't
it was
want
the first time he made it.
Kaleidoscope was his first org and he won and he goes in with an ego the next time he plays. But since he's played before, he's been humbled. So I hope he can do well. And he also is, even though he's from Alabama, he's also Georgia too. And I had to stand him for immediately recognizing my accents. He knew exactly what state I was from. He's like, Grace, he's from Georgia. So he gets it.
He's using that social game on you. Like, I read that prod chat. He's using that social game on you.
Morgan, I saw you unmuted. Did you have anything to say?
I just think it would be really interesting to see how somebody who's like so fresh off of a win is going to be able to progress through the game. I know on our season of Distortion, that was so talked about all the time. And it was honestly kind of annoying as somebody who doesn't give a fuck about if you won an org or not. Like, it really doesn't matter. But some people just like obsessed over that. So I want to see how he navigates. I'm really excited to see him be playing this.
See, my thing is William. Oh,
No.
well, my thing with William is too is like he not only won that season, but it was very recently, and that season was long as hell. I think it was like 42 days. So like he's coming off a long stint. Might be a little burned out, might be a little fried, might be coming back later, might be a little overconfident.
Listen, the dream is to have him win Distortion, go play next season of Spellbound, and win that as well. We need someone to win the Trinity.
I was just gonna say the same thing as Morgan. Like, we've seen it in other seasons, and I said it with another person as well, that because they've won an org, people they'll talk about it, they'll mention it, and it's not just the one player who knows about them in the org community, it's also their prod guests. Like, their prod guest is there for a reason to tell them like information, and it takes one prod guest to say, oh, I know that person because they won an org. And like, I think it'll really determine how people will play towards him and if they'll include him. And just like Mike said, he could be burned out as hell. I mean, I've seen him in a lot of the chats tonight, and I don't think that's the case yet. But it's also night 0 and there's a lot of energy. So I'm thinking we'll see it in like a couple days if there's really an effect of being so I mean, that is a really long time to be in an org and to win. So like we'll find out, but I am really excited. Like, this is gonna be interesting. I think this will be an interesting player for sure.
Is Rachel on a tribe with William?
I was just about to check that because Tyler.
No.
Okay, because Tyler would 100% be the one spilling the beans that William won Kaleidoscope.
I mean, he spilled his own beans. He put it in the intro.
Yeah, he did.
That's true. You know, you actually don't need a prod guest to reveal it if you reveal it yourself.
Here's the thing. We had literally, I kid you not, besides like one person, we had basically like every single person in this game on that Zoom call tonight. And I saw there were 21 people watching the stream earlier. I would not put it past me if all 16 of those people sat down and watched that stream and were able to watch that video.
But I think it's weird, like, because like William did get a couple comments about it, but like, you know whose video didn't? Chris V. Like Chris V did not get a lot of flack for his, but Williams did, which I think does also play into the whole he just won Kaleidoscope thing. But I'm kind of interested to see.
And I think people know who William is now because he won Kaleidoscope. Chris V, like he's just
You won
fresh out of the
Kaleidoscope,
district.
baby. You're a star.
I think it's also that Chris V was talking about his traits and what he's willing to do to be a good ally versus William, who was like, I just want an org and this is how I did it. So I feel like it's two different vibes in the sense of I'm exposing how I'll play as a player versus I literally just won using this like strategy.
Yeah, when you're like I won because I had a great social game and I won so many comps and look at me, I'm so great. And by the way, it was just like a month and a half ago.
Not even.
That's true too. His
It's
video
bad,
was
yeah.
last. It is
Yeah.
what people will remember the most. That
Yeah.
is true.
I thought
Yeah.
his name is
Yeah,
William.
he should have went by Billy. He'd be fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the cast of Distortion Survivor Thrilltopia. Thank you, Prod. Thank you for the Final Destination after show for being here and presenting. I'm going to stop streaming, but for all the players that are watching this postseason, thank you for a wonderful season. You guys either really brought it or you really didn't, and I'm going to be ominous about it until after.